I'm videoing the, it says Civic Center on it.
That's Civic
Center. That's the new City Hall, or Civic Center as they call it. The old City Hall is where the Board of Education is.
Okay, is that visible from here?
Yeah, that's where the tower is right there.
Oh, that's pretty. And the Board of Education is there right now?
They hold city council meetings here.
That's an important building.
It's only a block down the street, so you can go in.
It's a beautiful building.
Yeah, it really is quite beautiful. So we are on Alston Way and Milvia Street.
This is the occupation headquarters. It's the info table.
And you're taking a stand.
Yes. Yes.
I gotta go, Mike.
All right, see you later.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, we are proving ownership of this piece of property by occupying it. You know, we're fighting for the commons out here.
You're claiming ownership.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And that reaffirms our ownership when we put the community garden in.
Right now we're looking at this is, might call this a work in progress. This is the community garden that some brilliant people got the idea of planting, and it is special plants. How would you describe these plants?
We went with medicinal first off, and all non-GMO. They were heritage seeds, and they were brought in by all the local gardening groups. Occupy the Farm was involved, Transitions Berkeley was involved, and we had gardeners from as far as Los Angeles and Sacramento come in to help us. Well, anyways, we're at the Federal Reserve. We got attacked by the police and DPW, and then the drugs and the alcohol started showing back up. Because the locals out there, there's a huge amount of drug and alcohol problems with the homeless out there. So they started showing up for the security and such that we provide. We didn't want that, so we decided to break and leave San Francisco and come out here to Berkeley and then try to do the local Staples. Turns out that when we got here, Staples had a beautiful location to set up. And they had a back sidewalk that was shut down. So we put a tent city in the back and an info table in the front, and we sat there for about 4 months.
Okay, what were you helping to do with Staples? What was the purpose there? We are promoting
the boycott of Staples. Staples had moved postal kiosks in, and we're providing mail services using their minimum wage employees instead of postal union employees. And a couple other things, when you're using a private business, the protection of the Constitution does not apply. They can open your mail. If it goes through the mail service, they have to get a warrant to open your mail. That was part of it. There was also no background checks and no training provided to the Staples employees. So who's handling your mail if there's no background check? Okay, they don't know. Postal union employees have a federal background check performed on them. Plus they go through training of 2 weeks before they start handling your mail. None of that happened over at Staples.
So essentially what Staples was doing was union busting.
Yes, exactly what they were doing. And it was the letter carriers, Angela, who first asked us to do this. The APWU, which is the American Postal Workers Union, they will come out and they will set up a protest at a Staples location, but then they can only stay for a few minutes because literally they got another location to go to, and they're hitting 4, 5, or 6 Staples locations where the postal kiosks are in a day. So they can't really effectively protest one location where we could occupy it, we could hold it down and do the info table 24 hours a day. Being homeless, we really have no place to go. And you want to know why we're here? The biggest reason that we showed up here is on the 1st of November, we found out that this building was under contract to be sold to Hudson McDonald.
Hudson McDonald?
Hudson McDonald, yeah. The locals didn't have any idea on what to do, so the first thing I said was, we're moving the occupation. We're coming right here, which is where we want to be anyway. So Staples is fine, but this is where the fight is. This is where the Commons is, okay?
At the post office.
At the post office.
Which started out as the Commons, and it was, through rain and sleet and dead of night, we will deliver the mail no matter what, when it was practically the founding fathers put that in place.
Benjamin Franklin, the first Postmaster General.
Yeah.
And the post offices, he set them up. This guy was a genius. He set these post offices up in the downtown region, right here. Central.
Benjamin Franklin?
Yeah, this was his plan. These post offices are central in the cities, and they are a spot of the city where if a disaster was to take place, like all the power's out, you have no internet anymore, This is a place where you could go in the olden times to actually get your information. So we came over here to set up an encampment here. Thank you. To set up an encampment here. And we're using homeless people to do it for a couple of reasons. First off, the homeless people are already used to being outside. We don't have to go through any of the what's the word I want to use? Acclimation. We don't need to acclimate to being outside. We're already acclimated to it. The housies, which we call the house people, the housies would come out, but they can't deal with the cold, they can't deal with the wind. They don't think about little things like cardboard on the ground underneath them to keep them warm, whereas we all know this stuff. So we decided, okay, this is us, this is our fight, and we've already demonstrated over there at Staples that we can do this without drugs and alcohol.
How do you, okay, you demonstrated you can do it without drugs and alcohol. You had a success at Staples.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that?
Well, it's kind of hard to talk about a success when Staples stock is up at about $17 now. It was at 11 when we were over there.
Well, let's talk relatively speaking.
We killed their business during back to school. That there is no doubt about. We were there when the college students were coming in. We reached out to the colleges. We gave them literature. We got them involved. And an amazing number of them stopped going to this Staples. And we even got information from the manager of the Office Depot over here that they were so slammed because of the boycott that they needed to hire extra people. That is a good thing.
That may be limited gains, but that is gains.
Yes. They definitely knew we were here. Definitely. Staples, the manager of Staples broke the law several times on us, trying to get us out of there. She even accused us of trespassing while being on the public sidewalk. And what we ended up doing over there was a lot of community outreach, getting to know people, meeting people, finding out the local politics, finding out the local issues, and seeing which ones apply to what we're doing, what we can bring in. And that's when this building went up for sale. We were like, oh, this is what we want. And we knew about this location because this is where we hold the weekly meetings for Save the Berkeley Post Office. We knew that this was here, so I said this is where we set it up. We bring everything over here on the 1st of November, had this set up. We didn't have this pop-up, we had a different pop-up out here. But we had everything, and the couch, which I love the couch. The couch just says it all.
That is a very cushy couch.
We want to make this as homey as possible. This is our home now. And that's a major part of why we're on the outside of this building, is because there is no place for the homeless to go. We're not allowed to set up our tents on the sidewalk. We'll get chased away. We're not allowed to set up our tents in the park. We'll get chased away. The end result is we're not allowed to set up tents. We're not allowed to construct shelter for ourselves. We have to be exposed to the elements. That's against the Geneva Convention. Even people who are prisoners of war are guaranteed under the Geneva Convention food, water, and medical supplies and shelter. We don't get that. Homeless people don't get that. And this is something that needs to be addressed. So we've come to the Commons, our spot. We set up our tents. We set up our shelter. And we're demanding that we be allowed to use the Commons for the common good of the people.
Okay, so there are several things going on. First, you're demanding homes, and I believe in the Universal Bill of Human Rights, which was written in San Francisco, in United Nations Plaza, in a building next to it. Eleanor Roosevelt was in those negotiations. Everyone is guaranteed a home. A home is a human right, according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So first of all, you're verifying your right to have a home, and secondly, you are recapturing the people's commons, meaning that we take back everything so it belongs to the people.
It belongs to everybody, not just a select few who have a lot of money.